Roger with iGadgetGeek here, and I have another device review. This time it is the brand new AT&T LG Optimus G. It is the first quad-core LTE phone on AT&T. Now this does retail for $199 with a 2-year contract. Now I was lucky enough to have this for about a week now, and I have to say that first impressions, I'm very impressed. I've never been a huge fan of LG, never thought their stuff was bad, just never really have used LG products a lot. But I'm going to have to say, first off, the build quality of this Optimus G is phenomenal. It's a very solid feeling phone. It doesn't squeak or creak. It doesn't feel like it's made up of all plastic. It feels like metal and glass. Me personally, I think the build quality of this phone rivals that of the iPhone 4S. I've been very impressed with the build quality. Now this does have a 1.5 gigahertz quad-core processor with 2 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of storage built in internally, and I've stuck a 32 gig SD card in there to augment that storage. Of course, here's the box it comes in. Pretty much a straightforward box, not a whole lot of information there. We're going to set that to the side. Now in the box you get, of course, the handset itself, your wall plug, and a USB to micro USB cable. Pretty much standard stuff we've seen for most Android devices. So let's just start off here by taking a look around at the device. Now I've gone ahead and repositioned my camera so we can get a close-up look at the device itself. Now on the very back you have some of your little information down here, the FCC ID, your model number, and all that good information. You have a rear speaker, your 8 megapixel camera with flash, and the little AT&T logo. Now they've removed any actual text and instead just put the little globe there, which I really think that's a nice touch. I actually like the way that looks over the actual AT&T text. Now on the very bottom you have your 2 screws here. That is actually what holds the phone together. Real nice build quality like I mentioned before. You have your main microphone and your micro USB sync and charge port. Now here on the right hand side it is empty. All you have is your sleep wake button, and they've incorporated the notification light around this power button, which I think is really cool. Now on the very top you have a 3.5mm headphone jack, your secondary mic. Now on the left hand side you have your volume up and down, and that feels like a metal rocker. Then you have this little door, and underneath this door is where you access your SIM card and your SD card. Go ahead and close that back up. We'll take a look here at the very front of the device. You have your forward-facing camera. Light and proximity sensors are over here in the corner. Your main speaker here on the front. Right here is the lock screen. Now there's quite a bit of customization stock right in the lock screen. Now you have an unlock effect. So you can see here when I drag my finger across the screen it kind of looks like a bubble of water. So that is one effect. So let's go right in here to lock screen settings and we'll look at all the different customizations. Of course you have your select screen lock. If you touch on that you have swipe, face unlock, pattern, all that good information. You have of course your wallpaper to select different wallpapers. You have your clocks and shortcuts. Now in here you're able to choose between, say, an analog clock, a giant digital clock, a smaller digital clock, the one that I personally like, which is the clock with the date and the calendar. And then there's one with a clock and a large calendar. Now at the bottom you can pick and choose from your different shortcuts. Now as you can see I personally have 3, which is the camera, messaging, and Gmail. Now there is an option for a 4th, but I personally only use 3. So let's go ahead and look right back here at the lock screen. And we'll take a look right here at these shortcuts. If you push on any of them, they kind of has that same water effect that allows you to open your Gmail or your messaging or whatever shortcuts you choose. Now there is some options there for the unlock effect. So if we come in here to screen effect, you have a dewdrop, a spreading ink, a ripple, and a basic. So we'll go through all of those. The first one you saw that I use normally is the dewdrop. Here's the spreading ink. And then we'll go right over here to the ripple. And the last one is just a basic, and it's kind of just a circle. Now I personally like the dewdrop, so that's the one I tend to use because I really do like that one. Now of course here at the home you're presented with a pretty unique launcher. Now LG's skin that they've put over the ice cream sandwich Android is not too intrusive. It's pretty close to stock, and I'll have to say of all the ones I've used I've kind of tend to like it. That's just my personal opinion. Everything seems to work really well. There's not a lot of things changed to a basic Android experience. Now at the top, of course, you have your Google search, your little microphone. This plus right over here allows you to add items to the screen, whether it be right here at the bottom, picking from your widgets, your wallpapers, your downloads, or your apps. So it's kind of nice. They have a little button right there, real quick and easy. Now on the drop-down notification, as you can see, it is transparent. Now at the top, of course, you have your standard on-off shortcuts, if you will, for Wi-Fi, your silent, your GPS, Bluetooth, quick memo. Now you also have NFC, airplane, and then the really neat option that they include is this edit. If you go to edit, you can pick and choose the order of these shortcuts and what shortcuts are there. You come to this plus sign here and you can pick and choose whether or not you want that shortcut. I really like how they have that level of customization right out of the box. Now, right back real quick, as you saw, there's a button here called Quick Memo, and you may be wondering what that does. If you touch on the Quick Memo, it actually takes a screenshot and then allows you to write a quick note, and then you're able to send that through an email or save it to your pictures or anything like that, which I think is a real nice quick feature. Maybe you're in Maps and you want to send someone a quick screenshot and write something on that map of a particular location, meet up here, we're having dinner there. It's a really nice feature that's included in the stock software. Of course, here you have a nice weather widget. When you touch on it, it will take you into a full screen weather with a future day forecast, which I really like. Now, stock, of course, you have some of the standard AT&T applications and stuff like that. But what I want to do now is I'm going to go ahead and run right through the Quadrant Standard and the Geekbench test, because those are tests that a lot of people want to see on a brand new phone, especially being the first quad-core phone on AT&T. So first I'll go here to my Task Manager, kill all the apps, go to the Task Manager, make sure there's nothing running in the background, and then the first one I'm going to run is Quadrant Standard, so I'm going to go ahead and run that now. Okay, let's go ahead and get our score. Now, as you can see, I scored a 76.59 on this Quadrant Standard, which is pretty impressive. So now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing again here. Close out all my apps, go to my Task Manager, make sure I've got nothing running in the ROM, and then we're going to come right down here and we're going to go to Geekbench 2, which is another kind of a Quadrant Standard. It's a benchmarking test I tend to run on all of the Android devices that I review. There it is. So we'll go ahead and pull that open. As you can see there, it shows that it's running Android 4.0.4. It is a Qualcomm ARM7 1.5 gigahertz quad-core processor. Now they rated at 2 gigs of RAM. Here it's showing 1.78 gigabytes, which is right in line. So let's go ahead and run this full benchmark. Now, as you can see there, I got a score of 20.75. To put that in perspective, most iPhone 5s that use this Geekbench 2 software, because this is a cross-platform benchmarking tool, most of those are getting around 16 to 1700, and this got 2075. So take those numbers for what they are. But for me personally, what really tells you the performance of a phone is how easily it is to operate and how fast, and this is just extremely fast. There is virtually no lag that I can find. Popping in and out of applications is just really quick. I mean, as you touch them, you're bam, you're there, you're out. I mean, it's just phenomenal the speed at which this quad-core processor with 2 gigs of RAM powers this Android ice cream sandwich phone. Now, there is one last little option here I want to show you, so I'm going to go reset the camera and show you this last really cool application that's pre-installed on this LG phone. Okay, the last application I want to show you is pre-installed from LG. They have a little folder here in your app tray. Now if you open that, it's a share folder. Now it has File Share and Smart Share. File Share allows you to wirelessly transfer files to and from your computer. Now Smart Share though is really cool. I personally like it. Now, if you have a lot of photos or videos or content on your Android smartphone that you want to maybe play on your big screen TV at home, kind of like AirPlay does with their Apple TV, but you don't want to go out and buy another device, What's really cool is if you have an Xbox 360 Slim like I do, and like a lot of people, you're able to actually take files from this phone and stream them through your Xbox 360 onto your TV. Of course, you go from, you pick out your photos, your music, or your videos, and then you select two, and as you can see, as long as you're hooked up to the same Wi-Fi network, the Xbox 360 is there. So we can pick the 360, we can go in here to music, and it's going to open all your folders that hold your music, and you can go right into that music, and it'll take that music and it'll stream it through your Xbox to your TV or your stereo. And I think right out of the box, that is a phenomenal option to have the ability to wirelessly stream all your content from your brand new smartphone onto your TV or your stereo through an Xbox 360. Now that is stock, inherent in the software. There's not extra apps to download or anything like that. And for me, that was a really cool feature. I've really used it and enjoyed it. Now that has been my full review of the brand new AT&T Optimus G. Now this does retail for $199 with a 2-year contract.